Where do you see God? I'll ask you again. Where do you see God? In the current situation that we find ourselves in, there are lots of things that we can focus our attention on. Things that can help us see God and recognize His presence, or things that can make God seem incredibly distant or even missing. I was praying and thinking about this a few days ago during a particularly long night. I'm blessed to have two children, the youngest of which is my 16-month-old daughter. She is currently going through a major teething phase, which is causing her some pain and a lot of nighttime restlessness. A few nights ago, she woke up in the middle of the night and began to cry. While I was checking on her, I noticed something that had not caught my attention before. Upon entering her room, I immediately pick her up, begin to rock her and attempt to soothe her, and when she was calm, I placed her back into her crib. When I did, she began to cry again and was startled. And as she wiggled around, I saw her eyes darting all over the place until she looked in my direction, and for a moment we locked eyes. In that moment, the crying ceased, and she gave a brief smile before a great big yawn. Eventually, she worked her way back to sleep, but I noticed the same thing that happened the next few nights while putting her to bed. Lying on her bed is still an adjustment for a girl learning how to sleep, and my interpretation is that the bed is initially scary because she feels alone. All she can see is the darkness around her, wondering, not understanding the process of sleep. Yet when she notices my presence, and we catch glances at each other, everything is okay because Dad is present. Now, I'm nowhere near a perfect parent, but it's amazing to see how comfortable a familiar, caring presence can be during a seemingly uncertain moment. Last night, when I was reflecting on this gift and praying about it while waiting for her to fall asleep, I felt like God was saying, Matt, remember in our relationship, I'm the father and you are the baby. The love that you have for her is only a drop in the bucket of the outpouring that I want to offer you. You can experience this when you follow the same advice that you wish to give your daughter. Take time and focus your eyes on me. So what happens when we put our eyes on the Lord? In reflecting on this, I was drawn into the story in the Gospels where the disciples were in a boat being tossed around by the storm. Perhaps this is due to Pope Francis's reflection at his worldwide blessing, which you should absolutely read or watch if you have not already. The Pope reflected on how Jesus was asleep during the storm in the quiet confidence and trust in God. The story that came to my mind was when Jesus approaches the disciples walking on the water. He calls for Peter to come to him on the water. Initially, Peter is terrified and hesitant because of the strength of the storm, but he finds the courage to get out of the boat. What happens with Peter then is truly remarkable in that he's able to walk on the water. He takes several steps and is doing what he considered to be impossible. However, after the initial shock where his eyes were fixed on Jesus in this fearful anticipation, he begins to think about and shift his focus to his surroundings. He remembers the storm, and when his eyes give their attention to the waves, he begins to sink. He's able to walk on water when his eyes are on Jesus. When his eyes are elsewhere, he sinks and needs a desperate rescue. Jesus makes the rescue. They get into the boat, and the storm is calmed. You see, like my daughter, we can find comfort in God. And like Peter, we can learn that we can do the impossible. There are many storms surrounding us right now. The fear of the coronavirus, the fear of getting ill, the fear of an impending financial situation, the stress of educating at home, the frustration of not being able to see the people we care about, and so much more. I think God's message in this time is to take a deep breath and focus your eyes back on me. So again, where do you see God? If you're having trouble answering the question, or your main avenues like the sacraments have shifted, I want to teach you a prayer that can help you answer this question. It's called the Jesuit Examen. The Examen is meant to be prayed at the end of each day and is a reflection that uses simple steps that help us understand where we're connecting to God, where He's speaking to us, but also the barriers that we put up that can help keep Him away. If this is prayed consistently, you'll be able to recognize where God is in your life and perhaps a few ways in which you can grow to make Him more present and remove those barriers. The steps are simple to walk them through with you now, but I'm also going to put a link below to the full prayer if you'd like a version to print. The first step is to invite God to be present. As you begin your prayer, ask Him to assist you with the prayer, to help you to see and acknowledge the things that He wants you to communicate during this time. The second step is thanksgiving. We begin in gratitude with the understanding that each day is a gift, and to share some of those things you are thankful for, and actually vocalize them and vocalize your appreciation with God in this prayer. The third step is to review the events of your day. You do so by asking some basic questions. Where did I see God today? What happened today that brought me joy, love, peace, happiness? Were there any events or things that stand out that I really want to pay attention to? The fourth step is to continue reviewing your day, but also to notice where we may have made mistakes, closed ourselves off to God, missed an opportunity for grace, or put up barriers that keep God out. The final step is to ask God for guidance in the upcoming days, to apologize and ask for His help and to avoid making similar mistakes in the future, to continue to grow in moments of His love and His presence. The Examen is a great tool to help us know where we can see God, and then we will know where to turn our eyes when the storms of life come. I want to close by saying that no storm is ever meant to be fought alone. Please know that you have the support, love, and prayers of our parish staff and our community. If there's anything specifically that you would like us to pray for, please visit epiphanycatholic.org/prayer. It is a blessing to accompany you through these uncertain times, and may we all find the courage we need to turn our eyes to Jesus for comfort, strength, and the grace needed to overcome this storm. God bless.